Well, you just ruined my intro. Thanks. What's up, my peoples? This is Gandhi Thoughts number 22. I am joined by my good buddy, Ghostayami, who is texting because he has no respect for the whole art of live shows. Today we're actually going to be talking about Arena Gaming League, and we're going to talk about the predictions in the bracket format. Before we get into the predictions and everything like that, Ghost, how you doing, buddy?
Pretty good. Just, figured I'd get some predictions in with you before we head out there this weekend.
Yeah, well, you look like shit because you were probably up till 6 a.m.
I was playing ranks.
Were you up till 6 a.m., you psycho?
Not that late, but it was enough to make me look like this.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was up till 4, and I felt like shit this morning. My eyes, like, for the first time in a long time, hurt. But I got that level 20, dog. What's up? But anyway, so in case you guys are new to Arena Gaming like I am, because it definitely really caught me off surprise. They run a pool play system, which is a little bit different than most things I'm used to, which is normally, like traditional Halo, you start off with free-for-all, you get your seeding from there, and then you go into the double elimination bracket. Arena Gaming decided to say, go fuck yourself, free-for-all, and instead what they did was they make like 12 pools. There's like pool A all the way through pool F, and every team is in a pool. So how this works is now when you're in a pool play, the top 4 go on to the top 32 double elimination bracket, and the bottom 4 in each pool, their tournament is done. Now the good thing about this is that, you know, players actually end up getting to play more games than they would at like a Major League Gaming event because, Correct. You know, they're only a lot of players, you know, they're going to go out round 1 of winner's bracket and loser's bracket. That's 2 series. In this, they're guaranteed at least 4 series. So it makes sense in its weird way to do it that way, Eric.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously we played mostly in the double bracket elimination. However, yeah, I also played in pool play, a couple, what was it? Was it 2005 Philadelphia, I think we did it in?
Yeah, it's a long time ago, man.
A couple other ones.
Well, you did pool play also in Halo Reach and Halo 3, right?
Right? Yeah, that's right, yeah.
What did you think of the pool?
Both ways have their own, flaws, and they definitely have their own pros, so we just obviously chose one of the two, and we'll see how it turns out. But yeah, like you said, it's definitely a lot of more teams get to play, a lot more people, a little bit more exciting matches. A lot of people like to think it's a little bit better for the entertainment side of things.
Yeah. Oh, also shout out to My Design who hooked me up with the graphic. It's awesome. I love everything about it. It's fucking sick. It's so simple, and it really brings out who I am as a person. It brings out my eyes. But so without further ado, Eric, let's cut to the chase here. You want to pick our upset teams first, or you want to go right into the top 4?
Yeah, let's go with the upset teams, man.
Upset teams first, okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to start off. I'm going to do one, you're going to do one, I'm going to do one, you're going to do one. All right? That's the format
sounds
here.
Good. All right.
It's going to go back and forth here. All right, my first upset team, and I know people are probably going to fucking lose their mind, right? My first upset team. Now, before... Let's not get carried away here. I'm not saying this is the team that's going to make top 4. I'm not saying this is a team who's going to win the event. What I'm saying is this is a team who has the potential to really knock someone out of the event, someone who has a lot of hype going into them, like kind of like a status quo or like a warrior, someone who could upset them. My first team is Reality Check. I watched Reality Check the other day. I believe it was Saturday night. Yes, it was Saturday night. And yes, I had a couple brews, but regardless, I was watching Reality Check compete with Warriors toe-to-toe and fighting for every single inch. Now, I do know that Sudis 1 and 2 also have dual hosts. They had dual hosts in that series, so of course, it's going to be a little bit iffy for, Warriors to compete. But the thing that I saw with Reality Check was the simple fact that they seemed to know what the hell was going on. Of course they do their little own PGL bullshit settings with 4SK and weird maps and yada yada yada. But the big thing here is that they've been grinding Halo 4 when everyone else quit. So that gives them a leg up on a team like Status Quo, who's coming from Call of Duty and didn't look the best the other night scrimming. So my first team's Reality Check. I think if Sudith 1 and Sudith 2 can pull their head out of their own asses. Their ego is so large for no apparent reason, besides the fact that their claim to fame is being the league's jesters, right? Like they're the community
Oh
clowns.
man.
They are. That's it. If they can pull their head out of their ass and not go to the event and like try to put on a show for people, and they literally try to play and try to win, I see them causing at least one upset, hands down, no questions asked.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I didn't get to watch that scrim, but by the sound of it, definitely seems like they got a little bit of a chance here going into this
I
weekend.
mean, dual host is a big.
And I mean, who doesn't love telling another team, yo, you just got reality check, man? That's one of the best questions you could ask any of your fellow gaming peers. It's just
it makes you cringe, right?
Dude,
and you're gonna
got reality checked. I don't know.
They got reality check, dog. Yeah, but the big thing here, though, and I'll throw it to you, but the big thing here is like they're gonna walk in with like a Warhead shirt on and like a jersey, and you're gonna be like, oh god.
But not the UNSC hat, man. That thing it's
not that. Not that.
I'm sad. I'm not gonna see that thing.
All right, Eric. So I'm gonna throw it to you. What's your number one reality reality check? What's your number one upset team?
I'm going with Legendary, which is actually Kobe's Too Fast, Devin or Pre-Devinator, Lethal, and obviously Sargith. Now, the reason I'm going with these four guys is because I've actually played with them a decent bit. Kobe is always obviously has that uplifting spirit. He's always going, I guess you could say, like hard in the paint. He's always trying his ass off.
Throwing hard in the paint.
I never played with that kid where he hasn't been trying, and again, something that Scott, is you need to have someone who has a little bit of sense of humor, because when you get on the main stage and stuff, or any of those places like that, it's always nice to not take everything so seriously all the time and just loosen up like we used to. Then obviously the other three players are really just kind of, in my opinion, similar. Obviously you have Lethal, who's a little bit more distinguished above the rest of his team because of obviously his placings and whatnot, and he's also has incredible gameplay. However, at the same time, we also have Devin, who's been kind of, I guess you could say, a little bit of an underdog recently. He's always kind of believed in himself, and obviously we can see if we're going to believe in him here at this tournament. So again, he's done a couple things here in his Halo past, and I definitely think he's going to make some noise again this weekend. And last but not least is definitely Sargith. Every time I played this kid online, it's dropping like 40 bombs, almost like a kind of similar to Formal in a sense. And I'm not trashing Formal whatsoever, because I think Formal is like the best at what he does, for sure, 110%. However, Sargith definitely has that similar play style, but at the same time, when I played with him, he doesn't mind going for the W. He has a really kind of selfless attitude towards everything. So even though he might be picking up snipers and whatnot, he still always goes for that W, and that's a huge thing to me. And again, I think that those four guys combined, they might spark some chemistry, and we could see him take off this weekend.
Well, the big thing here too is that Kobe is no slouch to the competitive scene anymore. Before it was like, everyone knew Kobe, right? Like he made his splash on the scene, and he always was, that guy who tried his ass off every single time, and he brought a lot of intensity.
Correct.
But the big thing was Dallas, he got a top 4 placing with Best Man, and that team, I forget what it was. And then, at the next Arena Gaming, what was it, Chicago? He got a 3rd place with Pistola and Lunchbox, and I think it was Sargoth as their 4th too. Don't quote me on that, but he's in the competitive scene. He knows he can handle the pressure, and the big question mark for me, had to have been that. But my thing is now is, how is Lethal going to do on this team, right? Like, we've seen Lethal literally devour everything, like on Team Infamous. We've seen him. We've also seen him shit the bed. I mean, Lethal started from the combines. This is a guy who I graded, right? Like, I had his scar card, and I was like A through F, and I was like A, communication, C minus, whatever.
They were so young at one time.
So young, right? And now he's this established figure who just sits online and trolls all day, right? But the big thing here for me now is like, what Lethal are we going to see? If we see the old dominant form Lethal that we have in the past, then yeah, absolutely, he's going to be a monster. But there's that chance where he doesn't put enough into it, and he kind of fucks over this team. But I don't know, because he gets in that statting mode,
Correct.
He does get in that statting mode.
And that's the thing, is that I think Sargoth, he does get in the statting mode also, but like I said, he has the way to kind of segment himself and step away from it. Like really just almost that, I guess flick of a switch. And the same thing with Devin. Devin has a little bit of the stat in him. That's what I'm saying. These three players are kind of all similar. And then obviously aside from Kobe, however, these three players are kind of similar with their styles. So I'm kind of interested to see who's going to be grabbing sniper. Who's going to be, I guess, getting that control position. Who's going to be grabbing the flag because. I think that all three of those players are, they all have their moments. They definitely all have their great moments as well, especially with sniping and all that kind of stuff. But I also am looking forward to see really who steps up as the selfless team member this weekend. Obviously Kobe's not going to be able to do everything here on the team in regards to objective work. And being that, again, most series always have more objective than they do Team Slayer, it's a huge issue here in any Halo tournament. So, yeah, I'm definitely interested to see who steps up in that department.
Now back to me here. It is Daddy's turn. My second upset team is definitely one that people are gonna be like, how is that an upset, right? Because these guys are all established players. But the thing is when you look at the time put into the game and how recently they formed and how really, kind of most of them left the scene with the exception of Chig and Mikwin, is going to be Fnatic Classic. Fnatic Classic is a team that if they practice, I don't actually see them sticking together, right? Like I wouldn't see these four players meshing, like forming a team and sticking together after more than one event. I really don't. And the reason is because Bestman is a drifter, and so is Mikwin. Mikwin and Bestman have the ability to just go like
leave after getting second in the championship.
Yeah, like just. They're just on this wave of teams where they just, they bounce from back and forth. But Mikwin, he did have a little bit of a stay with Turning Point back in 2011.
Yeah, Mikwin definitely, you can tell that he has definitely that loyalty when it comes to team.
Yeah, for sure.
And dude, how crazy is it that back when in the day with Carbon and stuff, having Shockwave as a captain, like, where he's just
a captain.
He was the captain and pretty much said,
captain back then.
Until we deem that we suck together for 2 tournaments or 3 tournaments, I'm not kicking anyone off. And that's one of the most rewarding feelings you can feel from any captain, like having that sense of security. Like, oh, I picked you up, I chose you. I'm not choosing you just for this one test, for this one LAN. I chose you because I watched the VOD, and you're gonna be good enough for the next 2 to 3 tournaments. And obviously, if it doesn't pan out, then you know what? We'll figure out how we can make it work.
Yeah, longevity. Longevity is definitely what you're going for. But Mikwin is this player, and I did a kind of little rundown on Mikwin, and the big thing with Mikwin is the simple fact that he came into the scene. And, everyone looked at him and they're like, who is this Link lookalike? Who is, he's got the beanie on backwards. He looks like a character straight out of Hyrule, right? Like he's got the skinny jeans, which are essentially tights, and no one really knows what's going on with him. But the big thing with him was as soon as he emerged, he was underneath Ninja's shadow from day one. And the thing is that Ninja got a lot of flack, but he also got a shit ton of love. And Ninja, everyone was like, well, he's good, but he, a lot of the top pros decided, he's good versus people, 9 through 256. He's not good versus the top players, right? Like everyone kind of knew that, and now he's starting to slowly work on that. But so I think Mikwin never got attention. So when he sees all this hate going towards Ninja, he's kind of like, well, I'm in Ninja's shadow, so if he's not competing versus the top players, I must really not be competing. And he's kind of formed this big mental block in his mind where he doesn't know where he's at as a player. And it kind of sucks, but I think soon Mikwin's going to realize how truly gifted he is at this game because he's a freak. He's a freak of nature.
He has, obviously that technical skill that is so crucial to have at the highest level of play. You need to be able to, anyone who can react on a high sensitivity alone, that takes a ton of technical skill. And so I just think that obviously when watching him play, he does a great job looking at everything and again, like what you say, he's in the shadow. I understand it to an extent. Because at the same time, a lot of people are Ninja shadow. The guy puts out great content and he has a huge following. So, but yeah, at the end of the day, I wholeheartedly agree with you. I think that he really just needs to get his foot in the door and get sure of himself because he definitely has what it takes. He just needs to get there.
Yeah, but so now talking about Classic as a whole here. this team recently formed, right? Like no one
Mhm.
didn't. Best Man kind of hasn't played Halo probably since like Columbus 2012 kind of thing. He released one video and he was like destroying already. He has so much natural talent because he's such a natural gamer. Best Man always is able to put on a show, and everyone knows
Correct.
that. But the big thing with Best Man is dedication. So taking that into factor, I mean, regardless, you know what you're getting with Best Man. You know he's going to show up to the event. You know he's going to compete. You know he's not going to make the most amazing plays in the world, but he's going to make plays, and he's going to put himself in position to win your team the game. And that's huge.
Correct.
That's exactly what you're looking for. So when I look at Classic, I say an upset because one, they're newly formed, and two, I know they're not going to practice, right?
Yep.
Like, yeah, we
So,
know, everyone knows that's going to happen.
yeah, it sucks because like I mean back
Hmm.
obviously nowadays the practice regime isn't as strong as what it used to be,
It
but
can't be.
I mean at the same time Nashville is almost like the Philadelphia 2005 of
Yeah,
AGL. It's the biggest tournament they've had yet, and looking at the whole team list, there's a ton of names showing up. So, yeah, I mean, I think that everyone should be practicing for this tournament because it's not, a 24-team AGL like previous
yeah.
ones or anything like that. It's definitely, going to be a big deal, and we saw even 343 has taken some notice of what AGL's been doing. I saw Quinn mention that they've got some momentum going. So again, I think that it's definitely a big deal to start practicing so that you can make yourself a name and a good one at that.
Yeah, that's. I mean, people are going to realize that because to me, this is kind of like the first big event for Halo 4.
Ooh, by the way, Miklin just dropped by in the chat and said they actually practice every day. So I
Holy
mean, again, I
tits.
don't know if he's trolling, but
Yeah,
just,
God
put that
knows
in there.
what can happen there. But thank you for watching the chat.
Yeah.
um, anyways, moving forward here, I think Classic is going to do two things. They're going to either show. I mean, they're not getting anything less than sixth place. I'll tell you that
Correct.
right off the
Correct.
break.
Correct.
Um, they're either going to show up and play to what people think they're expecting, and that's going to be fifth, sixth, or they're going to show up and they're going to upset a team like Status Quo, or they're
Mhm.
going to upset a team, like Faded, or they're going to just steamroll through a team like Warriors, right? Like it's going to happen. However the brackets work out after pool play, whoever they face first. If they catch them Saturday after being warmed up and this team's rolling hot, they got their game loss already out of the way, so they won like a 3-1 round one, and everyone's like, oh, they kind of suck kind of thing. They
Mhm.
got that loss out of the way, and they come in hot, and they bring that intensity because the big thing at events is we know, it's like you have to up that
And
intensity.
Russo, man, Russo at a
You have to
tournament,
ump
that
that
kid can
intensity.
go off. And
And
Chig at a
Chig, well,
tournament,
yeah,
he
come
can
on.
go off. As a teammate of Best Man, I've seen him literally turn a Narrows TS game around with one flank. So that and obviously I can't speak much for Miklin, but what I've seen honestly on stream and at a couple of tournaments, they all have that kind of, I guess, that X factor ability where they can
Hmm.
turn a game around, and that's going to be the biggest point this weekend is that momentum change because
Oh yeah.
again there's not that much practice here
No.
again like we used to have in the previous years, and at the end of the day, momentum is always gonna be a huge factor, but even more so when there's not that much again practice or dedication or I
Yeah.
guess even unity amongst the teams here at AGL.
For sure. So when I look at it, it's either they're going to come out and they're going to get fifth, sixth, or they can catch fire and probably win this whole goddamn event. And that to me is why they're an upset team. Like, yeah, fifth, sixth, upsetting, a top four team isn't that big of an upset, right? Like
Correct.
it's still an upset. But the thing is like this team has so much uncapped potential that it's ridiculous. I would like to see them scrim actually first, but I could say, just put it this way, I will safely say that they can go from fifth, sixth to first in a fucking flip of the switch. So moving on to you, Eric, your last upset team before we break down into our top four.
Okay. Well, now my last upset team, I mean it's kind of a little bit of a tie. I mean, there's a few people that really stick out to me. One of them is actually Pure, which is full of Trey Try, Nemesis, 6-3, and Devin Platinum. Now, the reason I actually bring these guys up is they distinguish themselves as actually a pretty solid MLG team. I've played them at a couple tournaments, especially more so in Reach. However, they have a solid practice regimen going, and again, like what I touched on earlier, the unity at the teams here at AGL, it's not that secure. So when you have a team, I'm pretty sure everyone but 6-3 was on the original team. These guys attended events together, and like they didn't just attend one; they attended a bunch. They're comfortable with each other, they're confident in each other. So I think that they can definitely cause some upsets. Obviously here this weekend, because again, it's momentum is going to be aimlessly the biggest factor. And I guess the last person who I would go with, man, you got to go, I guess, with underrated a little bit. These guys,
Okay.
they've been, working their asses off. I'm actually good friends with their coach, Brutus. He's obviously is always involved, and he doesn't strap his name onto anything that he doesn't approve of. So when this guy said he was coaching underrated, I instantly knew that, there's something there for them. These guys, obviously, we've seen them all before, ABK, Winter, Bullseye, Broadside. We all know that they're capable of, making some noise. They're the third seed going into this tournament. And, with how the brackets are going to work, with pool play and all that kind of stuff, they kind of have it cut out for them in a way to cause some upsets. And, again, you look at a name like, VWS underrated, it says it right off the bat. You're not really, who is that? Like, a little bit underrated. So, again, the players that you don't really expect to see sometimes they jump out at you. Obviously, we
Sure.
saw what was that guy Cold Killer in the
Yeah.
ML free for all come out of nowhere and
What the hell is
dominate.
that about?
You know, so and meanwhile we still have pros feeding each other kills in the same free for all. This guy's winning now.
Yeah,
So,
fucking straight second prototype, the two biggest
yeah.
clowns.
Now, yeah. So, anyways, regardless, at the end of the day, I think that those are definitely the two sleeper teams in my opinion. They're clearly underdogs. They're overlooked, and they have some big names on there, and obviously some big artillery along with it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
All right, let's go into the top four here. How do you want to do it? Do you want to just pick like our top four? Do you want to start from like fourth place and work up?
Yeah, go for it. You
All
go
right.
first.
All right, so coming in fourth place here, I'm going to throw, and the reason I'm throwing this team is not just because. Actually, no. The reason I'm throwing this team in here is solely because of the hype and the fact that they've stuck together and the fact that this team is still playing and they're still grinding, and that's going to be Team Faded. I'm going to throw Team Faded in at the fourth spot because, one, they're dedicated. Two, they've proven themselves on LAN. And three, a lot of people don't really know what to think about this team. People see a name like Rob the Turtle, and they're like, is this real life? Like, what the fuck is that gamer tag, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, people look
Questionable
at
gamer tag.
people look at these gamer tags and they're like, what is this? Like, why is this happening? But the big thing I see from this team is dedication. And, they've kind of proven themselves, and a lot of teams are afraid of Team Faded. Now, I haven't personally watched them that much. I can't.
Okay.
But looking at the rest of the teams coming to this event, I can safely say that with the pool play, the way it's set up for Team Faded, and not like who's in their pool, but really just the pool play format to get, a couple losses out of their belt early, get the jitters out, because they're not the most experienced team in the world, no way. Not even close to being, scratching the surface of the most experienced team there.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to get there, get a couple losses out of the way in pool play, come out, and then they're going to be firing. And people, like a team like Status Quo, who's going to be kind of coming in there and being like, oh yeah, we're the fucking best, Red Bull, blah, 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 right? They can get the dick. They can get the dick hard just by a team like that. No questions, man. Like, no questions asked. So my fourth place is going straight to Team Faded.
All right. Well, that's definitely respectable. I'm actually gonna, I guess, go the other end. I'm gonna go with Status Quo here as the fourth place. Obviously, they're an established team, like we all know. They're sponsored by Red Bull. This tournament we have a little bit shaken up of a roster. It's Flame Sword and Enable, obviously, two people that we're very, very familiar with. And then on top of that, we also have Snakebite and APG, a pure gangster. Those guys are also obviously familiar with Status Quo, and they've been, going at it pretty hard. I've seen them do a couple of scrims here and there, whether it's on my, friends list or even on Twitch, or excuse me, I guess the Red Bull USA streaming site. And yeah, I mean, they definitely show their determination for this tournament. They've been practicing and all that kind of stuff. Now, the reason I'm sliding them in there as fourth, really under a couple other teams that I'm going to mention in the future is is really just because I saw a little bit of a struggle online. Now, I know that they're a LAN team. I know that they performed. They've had tournaments where they haven't done well, in the basement, as they've always been referred to as the basement gods. And they've come out and won tournaments. I lost them. It was the first Reach tournament with Dynasty, and they went on to take first. So again, they definitely know what they're doing. And like you said, kind of about who was it, Faded? I think that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, excuse me, about Reality Check. I think that these guys, if they click, they can definitely cause a huge uproar. They just, again, something about online, it just didn't look right. It didn't look like the pieces were, I guess, fitting in the puzzle. So hopefully they can bring it together here this weekend. Again, they have the tournament experience, and that is so crucial, especially when we have something of this nature with 64 teams going on here at AGL Nashville.
Yeah, the funny thing about the fact that you put them fourth is the fact that I'm putting them at third. So my big thing for putting status quo at third is, yeah, sure, they're not clicking, right? Like, we all know they're not clicking that well. And that's really just because, you got a guy like Flamesword who's very methodical, and you got a guy like APG who's just, he's kind of like Ninja's. Ninja's personality is like APG's gameplay, right? Like, he sees a person and he fucking chases after him. Ninja sees like a car and he like chases after it, or a squirrel, he chases after it. You know what I mean? Yeah. But so, like, of course this isn't gonna click. It's not gonna go well. But my big thing here is, like, status quo is still status quo, right? Like, Snakebite is a monster. Flamesword is black coffee. He's just like Richie Hines. You know what you're going to get. You're going to get a leader. You're going to get a guy who's going to light a fire under his teammate's ass. And you got a guy who has everything to prove now. Right? Like, he made this jump over to Black Ops 2. And everyone's like, or him, Snakebite, and Enable make this jump over there. And they're like, dude, you're wasting your time, kind of thing, just like Ogre 2 kind of did. And, they get losers bracket round 7 at Black Ops 2. So now they're coming back and they're, like, trying to go back to their stomping grounds, right? Like, they won exactly. Those three out of 4 of those players won the last Halo Reach event, period. So clearly they know what they're doing. They won events with sprint, with armor abilities. They also won it without. So they know what the hell they were doing. But my big thing here is like, yes, I think they're better than 99% of the other teams. Yeah. Do I think they can compete with the teams like Warriors or Pulse Ambush? Absolutely not. I think they get slapped hard by either of those two teams coming into the semifinals. And that's where I think an upset will happen. Like, this is how I see, like, very easily status quo could fall to third, or, to fifth, sixth, just by what I'm saying. They lose a semifinals match to, like, Pulse Ambush or, like, Team Warriors, and I know it'll eat at Flamesword more than anything to lose to a person like Ninja when he used to stomp Ninja, right? If he loses in winners bracket semifinals to Warriors, and he finds himself in the losers bracket competing for 5th, 6th, and a team like Faded or Fnatic Classic is coming through hot in that losers bracket, they get 5th, 6th, no questions asked.
There you go. I mean, yeah, it makes obviously a ton of sense. You pretty much just laid it out there for everyone. So, I mean, yeah, definitely adds up.
I know, I'm a fucking cornucopia of knowledge.
Now, yeah, for my third place, I got Fnatic Classic right now. Obviously, the only reason being is purely because I have Ambush and Warriors as the top teams, just purely because they have this practice at the tournaments already. Now, and obviously, of course, Pistola's up there in those names. Now, besides that, we have, Fnatic Classic, we have Chig, like you previously stated, Chig, Mikwin, Bestman, and lastly, Russo. Now, like I stated before, they all have their moments. They all can go off. Chig has, unbelievable tournament composure. He always plays exceptionally well at every tournament, and that's something that I always like to think that hopefully he prides himself on, because that's a very hard feat to do, is to really come in consistently. So he's always going to be good as long as he's playing his game. He's going to be fine. Now, Mikwin, same deal. He comes in and he plays his game. Now, he doesn't change up his play style. He doesn't change his sensitivity. He's not unsure of himself. That's one of the biggest things here in Halo is being unsure of yourself. If you're having a sensitivity crisis at a tournament, as Defy would call it, it's never gonna work out. And we know Defy and Bestman have those moments sometimes where they don't know what sensitivity they're gonna go on. And you, and yeah, so that's really something that I don't see happening with Mikwin, and he's always, like I said, just like Chig, he's always in it to win it, and I think that those guys can really, get some chemistry going. They're gonna bounce off each other real well. And with Best Man, he's not a person who likes to be embarrassed. He's not a person who likes to lose. He's very, very determined. So I've seen him get on. I've seen him play Halo, oddly enough, and I've seen him be on Skype saying complaining, oh, my team's not on, and all this kind of stuff. So he's actually interested in playing this weekend, and that's a huge part for this guy. Is as long as he is interested and he loves the team around him, which it seems like he is actually really enjoying himself, then he gives that team his all. He's always he tries his ass off. He keeps it serious. He's a very mature perspective when you get to the tournament. Always given tons of great experience. And I think that coupled that with obviously Russo's just sometimes ungodly talents, is he really pulls some things out of his ass. And it's not the Suds heads, but he just pulls. He just so well, and I remember the evading back in Reach, where I was wondering how is this guy rolling around the map like pretty much like Sonic. So at the end of the day, I think that these four guys are really going to make a huge showing. They're easily going to get third. That's without a question. Just in my opinion, based on communication alone and really just how they mesh with each other. But again, Chig, dude, he can go off with the sniper. Miquin can go off with the sniper. Bestman can go off with the sniper. Russo can go off with the sniper. And obviously with the settings here, it's pretty awesome if you can go off with a sniper. So I think that those players facing against, let's say, Snipe Down, Formal, and Pistola, they're all pretty good with snipers. And then you look at Legit, Ninja, Goofy, Ryan Noob, they all also have their I guess Hines is actually a really good sniper. I'm sorry for not giving that to him because he is a good sniper, but God bless him. He never picks it up. He's got Snipe Down and Formal and Pistola on his team.
There's no way he ever gets it.
He's gonna pick it up, buddy. So So at the end of the day, I think that those guys can definitely can go against each other, go head to head, and I think that those are going to be the best games. Is seeing any of these top four squads going up against each other, because I mean we all know AGL it's not established as an MLG yet, but it's making that transfer over from being kind of like a local regional event over into being that national event. Yep. And people go crazy when you're at a local or you're at a regional or something of that nature, and it's not MLG, it's all structured. Like it gets really intense. That whether it's the trash talk, whether it's how loud the crowd is and how they're not controlled. There's just so many X factors that were really, I guess, the kind of segmented away from back from MLG in around 2005, 2006. All the trash talk. What was it, the warnings and all the technicals that you could receive thanks to you, and all the other things like that. So yeah, I just think that they're gonna come out there and hopefully with some freaking composure, because I want to see him make some noise here. Team Classic, baby.
So now, relax. So now let's go into the top two, the big boys here. I've actually been weighing this a lot in my mind, and it's really a close. It's going to be such a close finals to me, man. Like I look at it and I
can't wait.
I'm sitting here thinking in my head, I'm like, dude, like this could happen or this could happen, but I'm gonna go with the safe pick here. I'm gonna go ahead and say Warriors is gonna take second place.
I knew it.
And the reason I'm gonna say Warriors is gonna get second place, it isn't because of what everyone thinks. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, well, Post Ambush is just better. They have Ola. Are you kidding me? No, it's not it. I've actually stopped doing, like, at night a couple times, I'll stop playing and I'll, get on and watch their scrims. And the one thing I notice which is like a staple in their gameplay, is the fact that Goofy doesn't always produce. Goofy, in fact, ends up dragging this team down a little bit with his online communication. He is the equivalent of an '06 Shockwave bitching online. You remember how awful that was?
Oh, is it that bad? I haven't.
Dude, it's nothing but whining, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on here?
That always will affect you.
But and then it comes down to this, right? Like Ambush with APG, like what was it, 6-2'd this Warrior squad at the most recent event?
Correct.
Yeah, so I mean, You're going to replace APG with a person like
Oh,
Pistola
6-1. Wow, it was a six
as a
one.
6-1. Yeah. So, I mean, Warriors didn't show up to that event.
Yeah,
So, clearly there was something wrong. But, yes, they've gotten the practice in. Yes, Ninja is really starting to get better and better. But dude, like Ambush brings this brought that fire to the event. Like their trash talk was on, everything was clicking for Ambush. And the big thing with Warriors is really like, they have to find out what kind of team they are at a tournament. They have this
yep,
identity crisis, right? It's like,
exactly.
are you the flashy team? Are you the trash talking team? Are you the team who's going to come out and win? Are you the fan favorites? Like, what team are you? And that's the big question mark I have with them. It's not anything individual with the exception of Goofy. Like, Legit is playing out of his mind right now. Saturday I tweeted out, like, come watch Legit. He is playing amazing. And Legit is going to be bringing the noise.
Yeah,
he's going to be my player to watch. Hands down, no questions asked at this national event. But the big thing here is like, I'm putting focus on Goofy if the Goofy can't produce, and the other thing I'm putting focus on is them as a team. Like they have to figure out like what team they're gonna be. Like they have the team to be the flashy team. They have the team to be the trash talking team. They have the team to win games. They have the team to just fucking steamroll everyone, but they won't. They can't figure it out. They can't. And it's only at tournaments, right? And what I mean by this team identity is like we were kind of like we were the underdogs. We played the underdog card. Like Carbon was the underdog team. Like yeah, we were a little bit flashy, but like we played that we're coming to win game.
Correct.
Final Boss was that team who brought the intensity. You knew when you played Final Boss in 2006, 2007, 2005, 2008 that they were going to be screaming. And when you had all four dead, you knew that you were going to hear Ogre 2 and Ogre 1 at the same time say, all four dead, all four dead, pull a flag. And there's nothing fucking worse. How bad was that? Yeah. That was their identity. Their identity was fucking search and destroy, pillage and rape the other team. Like that was their identity. And they played to those strengths every single time. They knew that. They came out, they were fast and fierce, and they could slow the game down. Straight Rippin' was the team who, they'd either come out and they were hot and cold, but, they brought that intensity. They were an intense team as well, but you never knew. They kind of had that identity crisis, too. You didn't really know what to expect with them either. Like, there was events where they came out and they were, like, really good, and there was events where they came out and you're like, what the fuck? Who am I playing right now? Like, I think the last three events, we 3-0'd them, and it was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, why aren't they showing up at all? But whatever. So Warriors needs to figure out who they are as a team. And the quicker Warriors does that, the better off they're going to be. But for me, I'm putting all the spotlight on Goofy. And Goofy, you either can produce and your team can, take that first place, or you cannot produce. And if I was Warriors, I would contemplate looking around for free agents. Just me.
Well, I mean, obviously, this is, I guess, the one point where I'm actually going to agree with you here on these predictions is I'm going to put Warriors as second now. The main reason being is because, you look at Ambush, you have, Hines, Snipe Down, Formal, Pistola. Now, those four players, they're not only some of the greats of our, Halo Pro community, but they're also very well respected and very respectable to other players. Now, Hines, he doesn't trash talk other players behind their back. Snipe Down, he doesn't do that. Formal, I don't think he does that. I've never teamed with the kid. And Pistola, he doesn't do it either. To my knowledge, all four of these kids are very genuine people. They when they just almost like Shockwave status, when they assign themselves to a team, they're comfortable with it. They're sure of themselves. And at the same time, we have Warriors who's, Ninja, Legit, Goofy, and Ryanoob. And these guys, obviously, they dominated the first Halo 4 tournament. And they've, I guess, at the end of the day, they've been on the ropes ever since. They had, obviously, a ton of people come at them, because of the whole issue with playing and whatnot. And, again, I think that this is probably going to be the ultimate, like I said, Philly 05. It's a huge tournament, the ultimate true testament of which of these teams is better. We have like two very solid teams now. When you come in and you're talking about Goofy and he's complaining, I definitely can understand how that affects people because, like you said, we all dealt with Shockwave and. Awful. And, eventually it went into where he just stopped talking, and now, it's just 3v4 pretty much. And
yeah, well, Goofy doesn't do that. He just continues to whine, and it's... I think it may be worse.
All right. Well, regardless, I don't see him doing that too often at tournaments, to my knowledge. I've never seen a clear, I guess, upset or really just how like what you're describing. He doesn't really seem to embody that at tournaments. Now, I don't know if he's changed his perspective or he's changed his outlook on the game. Maybe he doesn't like Halo 4. Maybe he doesn't like his teammates. I'm not trying to cause any commotion there. I'm just saying that. Again, once again, if he has these problems, so hopefully that doesn't transfer to the tournament because again, he was the Matador. He had the Matador
bold player, man.
Bold player. Yeah, he came out with
noise.
that move against Triggers down. Like he can't. I don't even forget that, and like I don't remember any of your guys' new stuff. So, but yeah, that was a huge play, and since then, he's rising up in the ranks. So these guys, they've already cemented themselves as easily one of the top 2 teams. Now, whether or not they come out against, Pulse Ambush, I have no idea. These guys they're going to be taking your face off. So
yeah, just segue straight into the number 1 team. Just talk about Pulse.
All right, Warriors. Let's get the snipers, because if you can get the snipers, you might have a chance here, like a much better chance. We'll put it that way. To take these guys down because I wouldn't want to face any of these guys at a tournament. Gandhi, if we had freaking Shockwave and Karma, this weekend. I'm not trying to play Pulse Ambush. I don't care how good we were. They're gonna rip my face off with that sniper.
There's two really good snipers on this team.
I don't want to deal with it. So
the thing is like we've used to talk about snipers in the past, right? But now it's a much different beast because you can't get unzoomed. So you find yourself on a map like Dispatch, and you go all 4 down and they have both snipers, you are in for a world of fucking pain. Like, it's just gonna be painful. Pulse, now, so obviously we're picking Pulse as the number 1 team, but the big thing about Pulse for me is that they are the team to win. Like, everyone, if they win, no one's gonna be like, oh, I never saw that coming, right? They have to play to that strength, and they do. Snipedown knows what it's like to play on top. Hines knows what it's like to play on top. Pistola knows what it's like to play on top. The only one who doesn't really know what it's like to play on top is Formal. That's because he's only got 1 event win. So how many event wins? MLG event wins. But now he's winning AGLs. So he's on top. So it's kind of time to see how he's going to be. Did he slack off? Absolutely not. No, he's been gaming. He's been gaming his face off. Yep. So Formal is doing well. This whole team as a collective, I think, is going to be awesome. And the big thing I'm looking forward to seeing is the reunion of Richie Hines and Pistola, which no one's even talking about that. And it's like, how the fuck can you not talk about that? Like, this is the team who was 2009 Triggers down. This was the
Team Classic, though. Come on.
Yeah, relax. Oh, my God, you brought that up. This is the team who beat 2008 straight ripping at Orlando. Well, not the team, but Richie Hines and Pistola were together when they defeated, 2008 straight ripping with, Neighbor instead of Snipedown. But, like, dude, these guys have so much history together. Their parents are friends. Their fathers are friends. Like, they are a connection. They are a duo. This is this team who has so much potential together. Like, them working together is going to be a sense of nostalgia in the making for me. Right? Like, I'm going to think back to 2009 and think, wow, I casted that year. Not well, but I casted, right?
Dude, that was a crazy series of events there. Can't believe you're casting.
Oh, what can you do? But, like, this team is just, there's so much you can say, and words aren't going to do it justice. But the big thing for this team is they have to play to their strengths. And they can't go in. Yeah, the number 1 thing this team can't do is go into an event and overlook teams. If they come in thinking they're just going to steamroll through everyone, they're fucked. They already lost the event.
Correct.
They really already did. But if they come in and they just take it series by series, game by game, they're like, look, we went down this game. It doesn't matter. Moving forward, right? Yep. They have an easy bracket. They have a very easy pool play. There is no reason why they should not have the number 1 seed coming out.
And if you not to really interject, but at the same time, we have 2 Haven game types, so that's two game types with the sniper. We have a Lotus game type with 2 snipers. We have a Drift with 2 snipers. We have Abandon with the sniper. We have 3 Dispatch game types with 2 snipers. Now Dispatch is probably going to be the most fun map to watch Pulse play on. They're going to be hopefully ripping some faces in a mean way. And obviously, we still have Solus, which also has Sniper. So again, I think that there's going to be a lot of room for these guys to move around, like you said, and playing to their strengths.
Yep. So that's really all I got to say on Ambush. So obviously, number one, we're picking off Ambush, and the big thing here, though, that everyone should take for this as we're wrapping this up is the fact that anything can happen at this event, right? Like events where a lot of teams are coming in with, minimal practice and not the most grinding practice. A team can
Hmm.
catch fire. Fnatic Classic can catch fire. Faded can catch fire. Any of these teams have the potential of winning the event. And that's the most exciting thing about this event, period. Right? Like, I mean, if we saw a reality check win, like, I'd honestly probably shit my pants. But, like, right?
Please. No.
I'm not, yeah, like, come on. But, like, any of that shit is possible. And that is something that everyone should take from this. And
Yeah,
that's the best part.
yeah, that's it's huge. I mean, obviously Halo 4, we don't have the extreme practice regimens that we used to with the LAN network, and obviously all the crazy amount of practice that used to go down there. And now, obviously, it's really up to yourself. You don't have, I guess you could say, kind of dad looking over at you anymore. You really got to get on the ball and get on. And like I saw earlier, Micklin is saying, the last 2 weeks they've only haven't practiced on Saturday. Now that's huge. Like I don't even think we practiced. No, we actually I know for a fact we didn't practice that hard. I think we played like 60 games before Orlando 6. But anyways, these guys are all right. They're going hard, and that's the biggest deal. You gotta pick out the people that are really trying. And the people that get on, they're gonna be the ones that always show up. T Squared always had that huge mentality that dedication is key, because when you get to the tournament and you think about, you're looking at the team across, the way from you, across the TVs, and you look to the guys on your left and right, and you know that you went over however many strats you went over the last 3 weeks, however many games you played, however many trials and tribulations you went through as a squad, as a group of friends. That's when you get that confidence boost. That's when you know that you're gonna, outshoot, out teamwork, outplay every single guy across the table from you. Now, if you don't have that factor, there's, it's really just kind of self-confidence and I guess beliefs or cockiness, whatever you want to say, gets you through that weekend. But yeah, at the end of the day, these guys, they're practicing their asses off, and I think that all of them are going to come in confident. And once again, I'm just looking forward to Dispatch, man. I really can't wait to see some kids play on that.
All right, well, that's going to do it for the Gandhi Thoughts number 22. Ghost, thank you for joining me. Everyone, thank you guys for tuning in. As always, this will go up on the YouTube. See you fuckers later.
Take care.